Hey, Kaedy.
Yes.
It's Rick calling.
Yay, Rick, I'm here with Melissa. How are you?
Hey, Rick.
I'm good. Nice to hear you guys.
Oh, you too. I'm loving your jewelry. I'm looking online and I'm like, ooh, I love that necklace.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
And Rick, I'm a drummer, so the artwork on the drum heads is just phenomenal. I have to get one of those too.
That's cool. Yeah, it's been really a fun project for me. Especially, we got art to wear and now we got art to play, so we're having fun over here.
You've mentioned that you've been creating for a long time, but you just kind of went public with everything about 5 years ago. But how long have you been doing this?
When I was a kid, I mean, most kids, they get into painting school, and I guess I discovered art before I discovered music, or before I started playing drums. Sort of around about 10 years old, I discovered playing drums. It wasn't until I started painting with my youngest daughter that it kind of reignited my passion for doing that. And I think one of the reasons is I go to that same mindless, in-the-moment place that I go when I play music. And I recognize that I was able to do that at home, not necessarily be out on tour with the band, and be able to do something where I could literally be in the moment and just feel a sense of peace, you know?
When have you found time? I laugh because when I talk about Def Leppard, I'm always saying, they're out on the road again. It's like the longest.
No, I know. We just got back from South America, which was immensely successful. I just came from the garage, my art studio. Yeah, my garage. I'm painting double-decker buses at the moment. So
you are? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I've got paint all over the place, but that's good. When I get off the phone with you guys, I'll be heading back to the art studio, the garage.
Where do you live now? Are you out in L.A. still?
I'm actually Central Coast. I'm overlooking a beautiful ocean at the moment. It's really nice up here. It's really peaceful. So I'm enjoying my time with my family. Just got my youngest daughter off to school this morning, so not a rock star at home, you know.
How long have you been living in the States?
Since 91. I first came here in 1980, discovered America firsthand. I literally got a perception of America just from watching American TV, but then the reality of coming over here, it's the most amazing place. You know, I love being over here. I settled here in 91. I've been here ever since.
Tell me, just for people that have not, and I've never been to England, I feel really bad about that. That's, of course, one of my bucket list things to do. Melissa, I know you have been. Yeah. But tell me what that's like when you've heard American music for your entire life and childhood, I'm sure, and then to come over to the United States and the reception. We all have loved you since day one. What was the reception like for you, and what is so different about the United States to you that you've decided to create a life for your family here?
I think people are primarily the same wherever you go. But, you know, it's really my family that I miss when I'm over here. But, you know, I've created a life for myself over here. And the cool thing is, you know, they come over here, my family come over here, and they never friggin' leave. They just want to stay. But, you know, we play shows over in England, and, you know, it's nice, you know, playing London, playing Sheffield, playing our hometown, and all these hot spots around the globe. But honestly, the reception we get over there is pretty similar to what we get over here. So we've got a really good following. The demographic is pretty wide these days, you know.
Yes.
It's cool to see a lot of younger people coming to our shows and really enjoying the music. I could be anywhere on the planet. Like I say, I just came back from South America. You know, we haven't been down there for like 20 years, and it was like we were there yesterday. It was just fantastic. We got an incredible reception. We're set up to go back there again. So, so...
It says a lot about your music and how timeless it is, because you know that not a lot of bands that came up in the late 70s, early 80s can convey that sound today. It's really remarkable.
I saw your show when you were here in Atlanta in May, and it's just still a big rock show. You know, it's not even just the music so much, it's the whole production that you're able to still bring it.
No, it's great. I would have never have thought this far into my career that I'd still be doing that, or doing it at the level that I am. We're busier now than we've ever been.
I know.
I guess we're on the endangered species list.
Not at all. That's what's so great is that you're not. And everybody, every time you've come through, you've been here like the last couple of years in a row, and everybody is equally as excited as you were the last time, you know?
No, it's cool. You know, that there aren't a great deal of bands like us left. And those that are, hopefully they're still out there playing their music.
Yes.
But we're just one of those really fortunate bands. And I think the most important thing is when we all sit in a room together, we kind of look around the room and it's like, yeah, we still hang out with each other. We actually still like each other, which is a huge factor in the longevity of the band. We actually really enjoy each other's company.
And you guys have also always sort of done your own side things too. Like, you know, Phil is so into working out and the health thing, and you've got your art. And tell us a little bit about the veterans programs that you're working with. Like, you're donating some proceeds to veterans organizations, and I know you've worked with them for more than a decade, but what got you involved with them to begin with?
I think for personal reasons, I knew that I was different after the accident, you know, after I lost my arm, good and bad. And there was a fair bit of self-medication, should I say.
Yeah.
Then sometime in 2006, I went to visit Walter Reed for the first time. And I'd never done any kind of therapy. I threw myself straight back into work, which, looking back, was probably not the best idea. It was great just hanging out with our warriors and realizing that although my trauma wasn't combat-related, trauma is trauma. Whether it's a car accident or whether an abusive relationship or an alcoholic background, you name it. There's a whole host of ways that human beings can be traumatized. I realized during that visit to Walter Reed that they were speaking the same language as me. I could really relate. So I held it together, and it was a really nice experience. But then when I got back to my hotel, I just broke down. I was so upset that I was seeing all of this suffering. And I called my wife up and I said, you know, we have to rethink our focus with the Raven Drum Foundation. We started to draw our attention to the trauma that was happening in relation to our men and women in the military. That was really the beginning of working with our troops. You would think I'm doing it for them, but it's not at all. It's a two-way street. I really get a lot out of some of the veterans, but, you know, they give me some really good tools to enable me to kind of work through my PTSD. And I never talked about PTSD at all. And then a friend of mine that works with Wounded Warrior Project, he's like, you need to tell people because I'm sure people will respond, and I think it's going to be a positive thing. So I started talking about it more, and to this day, I still work with the Warriors, and I feel like I can manage my own trauma a lot better. I hope that sheds some light on it.
Well, that's really awesome that you, like you say, it's a two-way street, that you're getting as much from them as what they're giving you to help. It's pretty amazing just the art that you're able to create. I mean, just from the sculptures to wearable art to everything. Do you have a favorite?
I like getting in amongst the paint, doing large pieces. Because, you know, I'm not trained at all. It's like, you know, let's see what we can come up with. But I like to think there's a childlike sort of quality where people can feel a sense of joy when they experience looking at some of these paintings. Yeah, so you can go back to when I was in England. A telephone box to me isn't just a telephone box. You know, when it was freezing outside or when it was raining, it was refuge. It was a place I could stay dry. I could hang out with my friends and get up to all kinds of weird and wonderful things, as you can imagine. So I kind of brought all this experience of living in England and then coming over to America in 1980, playing our first shows, and then sort of putting all those elements together, that whole life experience, just trying to share that with people, just trying to create a sense of unity, a sense of healing, and something I can do outside of the band that is very personal.
I'm looking right now at the Courage After Combat piece, and one of the things when Melissa and I were talking right before you called, I was wondering, you know, we were wondering how you did get involved with the vets, and I thought seeing the American flag for us just makes our hearts swell, you know, but the fact that you include the Union Jack with the American flag in some of these images is brilliant. It's beautiful.
There's always been that camaraderie ever since America got involved in World War II. I think that carries through to today. There's definitely a camaraderie that is undeniable. And I decided I wanted to come and live here in 91, and I was made to feel very, very welcome. People really enjoyed the fact that I chose to come and live in America. So it's afforded me a lot. It's given me a lot. It's a very rich experience just being here and being amongst you guys.
Do your children have British accents or American accents?
Oh, they're great mimics. They can go anywhere. It's like, and they mix it all up, so it gets really confusing.
How old are your kids, Rick?
I've got a soon-to-be 7-year-old. She'll be 7 in December. And then my oldest daughter, she'll be 21 in May.
Wow.
Big difference.
It's great, though. There's no competition, It's like, it's actually kind of cool having an age difference like that. Mm-hmm. I've got one just going into school, and I've got one just about to come out.
Something else I wanted to ask you about. What is your relationship with rhythm and drumming? Because, I remember even after your accident reading about how right afterward you were tapping the hospital bed with your feet. And that's always just sort of been inherent in you. And I know you said, you kind of got into art before music, but even getting into drumming at 10, that's a pretty good chunk of your life. But it also seems like in your artwork, there's something that comes out with the rhythmic aspect of your life. So, can you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we are rhythmic beings. A lot of people that say, oh, I don't have any rhythm. But if you experience kids, before they get into that sort of, oh, I can't do it phase, they naturally just sort of, the way they paint, there's no rules. Mm-hmm. Just sort of paint, and then you go, well, aren't you going to color that in? No, it's done. It's done. They're very confident about that. And then when it comes to rhythm or dance, again, they're so free with that. They're so natural. They're just able to do it. I was just fortunate that my father was a massive music fan. So he'd introduced me to music from Glenn Miller, and then he'd start pulling out Elton John, and you name it. And then I started getting into rock because of my brother, my older brother.
Oh, older brothers.
Yeah.
For that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The older brother factor. Yeah, he came home with Made in Japan by Deep Purple, and Deep Purple in rock, and it was like, at that point, it was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So I never really planned on being in a rock band, but it just kind of worked out that way.
Didn't your mom find the ad in the paper?
Yeah, it was a local newspaper, the Sheffield Star, and this guy Keith Strong, he wrote this article that said leopard loses skin. And at the ripe old age of 14, I was going to get out of the business because I was really fed up of playing cover songs and just being with local bands that all they wanted was a bit of extra money, to buy beer or whatever. So it was really refreshing. We called the newspaper, got Joe's information, and within a couple of days, I was meeting with Joe and Steve at a local club, and we all realized that we'd all been to the same concerts and probably stood next to one another while we were at those concerts. And we had a lot in common. They offered for me to come down and play, and the original drummer, he came back. But at that time, he was more interested in his girlfriend than going to rehearsal with the band. So I was very fortunate. I was the last guy to play. I said, no, you guys play. So I learned the parts. I got it down. And when I played, the guys really liked what I did. So here we are, 40-odd years later.
Isn't that crazy?
I know. It's crazy to think back of that. It's been 4 decades.
Oh, man, I know. I'm like, where did the time go?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I wouldn't change anything. Even down to my accident. It's like, it was horrible at the time, but now it's become a real blessing. Just being able to share my life experience and, working with the Warriors. Any walks of life I go into, people feel as though they know me. So the door is already open before I get there. So I just feel like it's been a really interesting ride.
Well, speaking of that, you seem like a really friendly guy, and that you like to meet the fans and stuff. So if people come out to your showing on November 11th, when you're here in a couple of weeks, what will their experience be like with you? Will they get to meet you, or will you be talking about your art, or what's sort of the plan there?
Yeah, there's obviously people that are really up for buying some pieces. So I have to put my attention towards them. But I don't forget about anybody. It doesn't matter to me whether you're there to buy art or whether you're there to come and say hello. Obviously, I'd love for you to buy a piece of art.
Yeah.
Sure.
But nevertheless, I always get to say hello to everybody, sign some things, do some photographs. It's normally a really fun time. It's a nice way to express myself or talk to people in a different way. When I'm out and about with the band, it's always very brief, whereas this, we can sit and talk and joke and just have fun with it. So it's been something really nice for me because I'm kind of, believe it or not, I'm kind of shy. That's why I hide behind a drum kit. When they pulled me out from behind the drum kit, it was a whole different thing.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how Joe does what he does, like standing up there in front of thousands of people. But this is a real nice opportunity for me to just talk on a more personal level and just share a little bit about my life and who I am.
Kaedy and I were actually just realizing before you called that the night that you're here, Ringo Starr is actually performing just a couple of miles away, so you might want to swing over there when you're done.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. The level that we're at, believe it or not, it's a very small world. We do get to meet a lot of people and a lot of crew that we work with or still work with. And when they're not working with us, they're normally out there working with other bands. So it's always cool when that opportunity arises. I should imagine it's a pretty busy day for me, though.
Yeah.
I'm looking at your schedule. From 1 to 3, you're at the Wentworth Gallery at Perimeter Mall, and then from 5 to 8, you'll be at Phipps Plaza, which is near the Fox Theater.
Near the Fox Theater.
It's not that far. Where Ringo's
we're
playing.
close to that.
Yeah, not far at all.
It's maybe 5 miles?
Oh, that's cool. Oh, maybe that's a really nice opportunity. I'd love to do that.
I would think it would be because that you could go afterwards.
Yeah, catch the second part of the show.
Check this out. We were down in South America, and we did a show in Porto Alegre in Brazil, and we got to open up for The Who.
Wow.
So I got to meet Zach. I got to meet Zach Sharkey.
Yeah, Ringo's son.
What a sweetheart. The first time I've ever met him. Joe's met him before. But before we went on, he came and found me, and what a sweetheart! I was just really excited to meet him. And then we got to see the show up close and personal, and it was so inspiring. I was like, this is so cool, and especially not only is he a fantastic drummer, but he's the spitting image of his dad.
I know. And he is a phenomenal drummer. He's one of the best out there playing right now, I think.
Yeah. So that was something really exciting. So if I go see Ringo, I'll share that story with you.
I was gonna say, have you met Ringo?
A long time ago.
Oh, you have to.
But I never really got to spend very much time. It was very brief. But I've grown up listening to these guys.
I know, yeah.
For my entire life, the Beatles' music is in my DNA. I can't deny it. It's part of my experience.
I had a breast cancer scare about 8 years ago, I guess, and I've been on the air in Atlanta for 35 years almost, and my boss encouraged me to share it on the air, and that is not like me at all. I'm kind of like you are. It's private, and it certainly turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. So I totally understand the fact that when you share those things, you get so much more back in return. It's impossible to even understand it unless you do it. Go through it.
No, it's true, and it's a fear. It's a fear of, how are people going to react,
Yes.
And I choose to see the good in people because every time I've shared a part of myself, like the PTSD, as soon as I did, all these people came out and started really not just sympathizing, but there was more of a camaraderie.
Yes.
People kind of understood what I was going through more than had I not said something.
And it changes your view of the world and life, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a great gift for your kids, everything. I just think that's wonderful. Let me ask you, is a portion of the proceeds from your art going to your charities?
Yeah, it always does. It's the right thing to do. Normally when I'm out on the road with Def Leppard, I'm doing meet and greets and all kinds of stuff that help with the charity.
Yeah.
But yeah, we always put a portion of the artwork towards veterans programs, whether that's my foundation helping to fund other foundations that are doing really, really great work. Whether that be from yoga or you name it. We get involved with it. But there's another one that it's like equine-assisted therapy.
Oh, isn't that amazing? Yes, I've done that.
Which is, and I've done it myself. I'm normally the guinea pig, by the way. Yeah. So it's like, Rick screwed up. Let's throw him in there,
Put him on the horse.
That's awesome.
So as I say, a good portion of pretty much everything I do goes towards that because it helps me. it helps me to help them to help me, you know?
I think that's really important for us to get that point across when we're talking about your events, because that's a big deal to people if they know that it's going to help too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I thank you for that.
Well, one more thing before we let you go. So Def Leppard, you mentioned you guys already have another South America trip on the books. Are you thinking about another tour next summer already?
Yes, it's already all there.
I heard about it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, again, this is awesome.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're going to be going out during the summer. I don't know all the details yet, but I think there's going to be something in the region, somewhere in the region, about 60 shows in North America. So it's going to be one of those. I'm not going to see much of the family sort of years, you know.
Well, you guys do such a great job with your touring bands too, to bring like Poison this past year with Poison and Tesla and some of the other. You know, I think didn't you go out with Kiss at some point? I think. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, we did. I think that was 2014 or 15, and that was great. It was really cool. I think a lot of Kiss fans that probably just heard Def Leppard on the radio,
right.
You know, when they saw us live, they were like, wow, I want some more of that. So, you know, we saw our numbers go up. We saw a lot more people coming to the concerts. And I'm not sure how much that had to do with going out and playing with another band.
Well, they're always just fun packages, and it's just always a fun night of rock and roll. I think I've seen every tour that's come through here in Atlanta the last few years, and like I said, it's just you guys always bring it. It's always just an awesome production, and the staging, the lighting. Joe sounds great. The songs are still there, and having like Poison before you and Tesla. I mean, it's just fun.
It is, and we know all those guys, and it's always nice to get together, and as long as there's no drama,
right.
With the year that you stop touring, like if you don't say next summer, if you don't say we're going to do the following, then we're going to know there's drama somewhere.
Right.
No, I know. No, we definitely don't like drama.
Well, do you have a lot of input into the bands that you bring out with you, that like for that reason that you want to go out with guys that you either know or think would be, you know, fun to hang out with because you're, like you said, you're gone for 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, we do. In fact, Tesla, they're on the same management as us, so that's kind of low-hanging fruit. And we've known those guys since 1987. They came out with us on the Hysteria tour. And then, of course, Poison, you know, known them, you know, since the 80s. And they've been out with us on several occasions. So it's good. It's positive. It's a really good thing whenever bands like that get together. And like I said before, there's not too many of us left. So when we get the opportunity to go out, and contrary to popular belief, some of us slightly older rockers, we can still show the younger guys a thing or two.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. You still know how to do it right.
Yeah.